Hi, this is Steve. I am opening a volleyball training facility in Auburn. We've outgrown the facilities that we have in Orangevale, and in order for me to do the work that I love to do and will always do, we need a destination and a place to go. So I've signed a lease on Shale Ridge Court in Auburn um, to train your children. In the process of thinking about a mission statement in a business plan, it was really simple for me. Using our sport to teach life is something that is very important to me and I have a passion for. And again, if you're looking at this, you understand me and you know I'm a constant stream of consciousness. And sometimes I say things that may or may not make sense, but I love teaching kids. I'm always going to do it, and I love when they reach their goals and surpass their goals. And now I'm old enough and been doing it long enough that I have kids that have come back, gone on to college, graduated college, and started careers. And I'm so humbled by some of the things that they say to me. And I never had any idea that I was making an impact in their life, but I am so proud of that fact. And I feel a lot of people say they love their work. I live for my work. And I may not be good at a lot of things in my life, but teaching student athletes is something I was put on the earth to do. And I want to spend the rest of my life doing it. So, description of the business. I'm going to go through a few things. The plans for now and the plans for later. Private and semi-private lessons, which I obviously do. In the years past, I've done upwards of 300 private lessons per month. Last couple of years, I have not, and that's due to the limitations of the facilities that we have. But having a destination where I can work day and night, weekends, will build that business back up. And again, the more children, student athletes that I help, the more gratifying it truly is. Club is something we're always going to have. I do not want to take teams to tournaments anymore, and that would take me away from the work that I love to do, which is working with kids individually. But we do need to have club and a destination for the kids to play club. It's almost a thought of protection. There are a lot of good people in this community that teach kids, and I have a lot of respect for a lot of them, but until they actually play full-time for us and me, I just feel like they need to be protected. Fitness is something that I currently do. It's mostly CrossFit and jump training, but I do it in the parks around town. And the drive time between the two is debilitating at best, not highest and best use of my time. So having that destination where these kids can do that training is going to be much better off for everybody. Leagues, beach, camps and clinics are things that I would like to progress into in the future. But for now, I want to oversee everything that is going on inside the building, and I don't want to bite off more than I can chew, especially in the beginning. So adult leagues, recreation leagues, beach, obviously we have a beach volleyball club, and that's something that is very near and dear to my heart, and I want to be an integral part of expanding that offering in this community. Camps and clinics, a lot of you don't know, I have over 100 kids that are doing camps and clinics currently, mostly smaller kids, 1st to 6th grade, and also some high schools that I do camps and clinics now. But again, those endeavors are to be determined. The market in Sacramento is pretty easy to figure out. All you have to do is multiply the amount of kids playing high school and club volleyball by the number of teams and the average per team. And there are over 4,000 players in Sacramento. Less than 10% of that market would fill the building, and then some. We'd have to expand it. Private lessons, I would like to get back to a level where I work full-time, 40 hours per week. That's 40 lesson students. Most people do one per week, some do more. And ongoing because I have to add new kids. But I have never marketed what I do. I've never ever told anybody. It's always word of mouth. So getting students, private lesson students, is always pretty simple for me. It's always a question of having the space to teach them all. 2 club teams per year. The layout of the building is one very large volleyball court with 1,000 square foot training area. I want to start by having 2 club teams, and again, I want to oversee everything that's going on in the building, and I don't want to make it too large in the beginning, but 1 court would accommodate up to 8 teams, boys and girls, during the year. But to start, I want to only have 2 teams, again, so I can oversee what's going on. Adult recreation leagues, beach volleyball training, youth development leagues are all things that we can do later on. This is the only volleyball complex in North Placer County. I have spent the last couple of months looking around at what's out there and what areas. The buildings and gyms in the North Placer County area are very antiquated, and gym time has become very limited, especially with the schools and the school districts, and their attitude towards people using their buildings. So space has become very limited in our area, and it's not going to get any better. Revenue. Club volleyball teams, 2 teams, 10 kids per team, $2,700 per student athlete. 20 kids total equals $54,000. Lessons, 40 hours per week at $60 per hour would generate $124,800. And I really need to get back to working the weekends because my life is opposite of the student athletes. So when they're in school, they can't work. Well, a lot of them can only work on the weekends. I can't do that where I am now. So capturing 40 hours per week is going to be very simple for me to do. And again, I've done it in the past pretty easily. Fitness, the jump training, I want every kid to go through vertical training and their CrossFit training. 100 kids per year is less than 10 per month at $180 would be $18,000. And then the beach, adult leagues, youth development, again, is to be determined. I just don't want to bite off more than I can chew in the beginning. Total revenue for the 3 club lessons and fitness would be just under $200,000. The expenses, again, very simple to figure out. Rent on the building is $2,925 per month times 12 is $35,100. Utilities are less than $200 per month, but I apologize for these little pop-ups on my computer that show up. Don't download things, guys, because you get that kind of stuff. Utilities are less than $200 per month, but a liberal estimate would put it above $200. They're at $200 to $2,400 a year. Tournament costs are pretty simple. Each team in the club, the cost for tournaments for the year is $2,500 times 2 is $5,000. Uniforms, $150 per student athlete. Is very liberal. $150 per times 20 kids is $3,000, but that would get them a uniform, backpack, sweats, the whole thing. Miscellaneous, because there's always miscellaneous costs that occur in any business. I estimated at $1,000 per month. Coaches, the coaches would be the club team coaches. Even though I, again, am going to oversee every single aspect of this business, including how these kids are taught, I don't want to go to tournaments. It takes me away from the teaching part and limits the amount of kids I can teach. So $11,200 for the coaches. Advertising, I'm going to use Gold Country Media, the newspapers, Colfax to Roseville, over to El Dorado Hills, Granite Bay, Rockland. Pretty much the demographic that the kids are drawn from now. $160 per week for a 1-inch by 2-inch ad would let people know what we're doing for 2 months. So 8 ads would be $1,280. Total expenses would be just under $70,000. The lease that I signed is with a fabulous family-owned business in Auburn. They love the thought of having what we're about to do in their building, and they were more than accommodating to the terms that I asked for. Start the lease on May 1st with a month free, so June is free, or May is free. June, July, August, September, and October, for those 5 months, there is no club volleyball. So I asked them if I could just pay for the 1,000 square feet of private lesson training that I'm going to be doing, and they completely agreed. That rent would be $450 a month for those 5 months. The difference between $2,925 and $450 would be split evenly in 12 payments starting the second year. So I would have to make up that rent the second year per month. But in theory, they're giving us the opportunity to come in and start this business and do what we need to do. After that, 2017, the rent would be 2017 on for the rest of the lease would be $2,925 a month, which is about 45 cents a month, which I did a pretty exhaustive study and talked to a few real estate agents that I know in the Auburn area, and it was more than fair. November, December would be normal rent of $2,925, but girls club would start in November. My intentions are to pay the rent in a lump sum and not have to pay it monthly. They've asked for a deposit of $4,400, which again, they've been kind enough to work with me on. I just need to negotiate those terms. The remaining term of the lease, as I said, 2017 on, would be $2,925 per month. What I need 5,600 square feet of court. Sport court lasts forever, so there's no reason to buy new stuff. I can get it for $1 a square foot from numerous different places, possibly less, but one 5,600 square foot court is bigger than anything your kids practice on now, and only one court will be going into the business. In order for me to oversee everything that is going on, I got to keep it small, and I got to keep it in front of me. It doesn't make any sense to expand it. It's not going to be a $1 million a year business. It just isn't. But again, it's going to be something that I can do and control, and that is very important to me. Deposit on the building, as I said, is $4,400. I need a divider netting that hangs from the roof to the floor, the ceiling to the floor, to divide the training court from the practice court. Equipment I've estimated at $1,000, and that's mostly medicine balls, CrossFit equipment, stuff for jump training. Operating capital, $2,250 is 5 months times 450, which is June to October. I would like to be able to have that in place so I don't have to stress and pay it up front. And I've told the landlord I'd pay it up front. The total investment is $14,250. On launch, I'm going to pay, as I said, the first 5 months, the $450 for the training court. Give me time to build the private lesson business. However, I own the sport court for teaching private lessons. It's at my home. Between now and November, I need to buy a court. And again, there's a number of different places I can find it and have researched and found it. Once again, 40 private lesson students training once a week will generate $2,400 in revenue a week. And I did do in 2005 to 2009, I averaged 55 hours per week of private lessons. And I have that in my old day planners, which I've kept and looked at and was shocked that I did all that work, but I loved every minute of it. As I said, I'm going to use Gold Country Media to advertise. The first 12 months of the business is going to come from private lessons and club and the fitness training. Return on investment. What I'll agree to do is give 3% of the net on the business paid quarterly forever. I think that's fair, and somebody that is going to help me start this business. And again, if you're looking at this, chances are I already trained your child, so you understand me and what I'm all about. I'll provide financial statements generated by Tom Carr, who is my accountant in Roseville. And again, I'll do that in perpetuity. In conclusion, confidence is something that we always talk about, and it's something I've been accused of making kids too confident, which I think is the most backhanded compliment known to man, but whatever. I have paramount confidence that I can teach the amount of kids to um, keep this business, sustain this business. Um, it's always a question of my time and emotional energy. But again, I wanted to go back to, I had some thoughts, and in my tiny little brain thinking about what I want to do, I love teaching your children. It, it not only guns my motor, I have a significant passion for it, and I always will. It gives me an opportunity to free myself in a lot of respects. We all have worries and cares and thoughts that, negative thoughts throughout the day, but when I get in front of your kids, I lose them all. I lose all the negativity. And again, I don't know where it came from. It is a blessing from God, in my opinion. I was put on this earth to do that work. And it's just a question of making the commitment and having the place to do it. We don't have the place to do the work now. I don't have a place to do the work that I need to do now. And having a destination is going to be an opportunity for these kids to come to, and for me to impact a life. And I want to impact as many lives as I can. And I truly do care beyond description about not only your kids getting better, but finding something in their life that they can have a passion for, and that passion that can carry on with the rest of their life. History, I do have a history of doing this work. Again, I'd be happy to show my day planners to anybody. And I've never marketed myself. Not one time have I done it. And putting an ad in the newspaper and Gold Country Media is something that's very new to me. It's always been word of mouth and very simple for me. The ability, obviously, I've demonstrated the ability to do the work. The growth on the business, that's just a question of sitting down and thinking of different programs, different thoughts. For example, the beach program, the adult leagues, expanding the fitness, expanding the club, to be honest with you. It's just a question of sitting down and diagramming those programs and then implementing the strategy. Location is absolutely perfect. It's off Bell Road and Highway 49. From my door in Loomis, Granite Bay, it's 23 minutes. And there is no other volleyball facility in that part of Placer County. And again, I want to reiterate, court time and courts have become scarce, especially in the Sacramento region. The market is there. Obviously, kids are going to be playing volleyball. It's a very popular sport, especially for girls. I do have a current business. That business is club volleyball and private lessons. Once again, I've outgrown the facilities that we're in, and the people that have helped us to generate the business and sustain the business that we currently have been the kindest people in the world. But we need to get more room. In summary, this is a business that I said I have a significant passion for, and I've decided to do for the rest of my life. One thing I wanted to add, it's been very difficult in the past for me to find people that can be me. And again, a constant stream of consciousness, you guys understand me when I make that statement. It's been very hard for me to find somebody that can take my place. Well, it's time in my life where I have to start training coaches and training people and empowering those people to do the work. I have a number of people, my own sons are two perfect examples, that would be phenomenal at this work. And that's something I'm going to make a priority over the next several years, because, of course, I don't want to be teaching volleyball when I'm 70 years old. Maybe kind of tough to walk, but I do have a passion for this sport. I do have a blessing that has been given to me to teach your children, and in theory, it's going to make this business a huge success. And I so look forward to doing the work. I truly do. It makes me smile. So, I wanted to thank you for looking at this, and I totally appreciate it. More than happy to answer any questions you may have in regards to anything that I've said, but what I am looking for right now is for some help financially to launch this business. So once again, thank you, and have a wonderful day.